Day one of free agency, and a lot has happened. Some good, some bad, and some honestly annoyed. We're going to talk about it here on Locked On Blues.
Hey, this is Brayden Chen.
Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our St. Louis Blues here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today is July 1st, which means free agency, and a lot has happened. Some good, some bad, some ugly. We're going to dive all into that and just really react to what happened today. Maybe a little bit of the draft, but mostly there was a lot that went down today, and who better than to have Dylan with me. We've had such great conversations, him and I, talking all about, the Blues during their playoff run and even, honestly, the end of the season stuff. But Dylan, let's talk about today. Most notably, and I just want to start off by saying this, one of my favorite prospects who I really love to watch play with the Thunderbirds, who was then called up to be on the Blues, was dealt today in a trade, and that was Zach Bolduc. I'm infuriated about this. And I just want to give you an example. During the Four Nations face-off, when a lot of players went on vacations, Zach went to Springfield to play on the Thunderbirds. And he came back from that break playing some of the best hockey I've ever seen him play. And for a guy that had such promise, it's hard for me to process that he was somebody that they were willing to trade away. Can I have your thoughts on what happened?
Yeah, really big fan of Bolduc and what he did this year. Before Montgomery took over, he had 0 goals. Montgomery took over. He ends the season with 19. Really got good at getting to the tough spots on the ice. Scored a lot of power play goals. Checked hard. He played really hard in the playoffs. Was a true Blue. One of my favorite guys last season. Honestly, just effort every night, effort every shift. He was fighting for the crest on the front in the playoffs. I love that for him. I loved him as a player. But at the end of the day, Haley, if you're going to get a right-hand shot defenseman that can skate and can score in today's era, you have to give something up. And even though the Blues didn't win a playoff series last year, they do have a plethora of wingers on the team. And if you listen to Doug Armstrong's interview today, I think it really wasn't no coincidence that it was a winger that was traded. And there's more coming, but it sucks to see Bolduc go. I wish him all the best in Montreal. He is a French-born player, or a Canadian French-born player. So, yeah, you got to give something to get something in today's world.
But what I found interesting when Doug spoke to the media was that he said, in my opinion, in his kind of weird Doug words that he does sometimes, is that he felt like it was like losing a kid, that he grew close to Bolduc, and he stated, he's been at camps like these talking about development camp. And he seemed upset about this trade, considering he was the one that insinuated this trade and allowed to go through.
Yeah, I think he kind of became a little bit of a fan favorite this season. I do think there's a world where you could have sold a little bit higher on him, just taking the emotional side out of things. You have to probably imagine he was involved in the Dobson talks prior to that deal getting done. It's a little underwhelming at first when you do see it. A player that played 7 games in the NHL last year. We talked.
Tell me a little bit more about that, because his AHL career was astonishing, but 7 games in the NHL, that's a lot of potential.
Yeah, I was looking into it a little earlier. He came up and had a really tough stretch in October. Like analytically, it was pretty bad, and they sent him back down. And I'm pretty sure he just never really got called back up. Montreal kind of caught fire, and they were winning games here and there, and so I don't think he ever got a chance to come back and play. And I don't think Montreal ever gave him a true chance to develop. Doug Armstrong said something super interesting today. He said, defenseman in the NHL, you need to give him 200 games.
Yep.
The player we got today, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name right. Mailloux or whatever. Anyway, he
I just call him Logan for now.
Yeah, we'll just refer to him as Logan. But yeah, he's played less than I think 10 NHL games in his career or something like that. Totally lit up the AHL, all AHL first team player, then 2024-25. He had, I think, 65 points or something remotely close to that last year. He's a goal scorer, a physical player. If Jim Montgomery can get his hands on him and teach him to play a little bit of defense, we could be looking at a legit top 4 right-hand shot, swift skating defenseman. And I just keep thinking about him playing with Broberg. And, I've kind of been waiting for Broberg to get a D partner pretty much all of last season. And yeah, we got a lot younger on defense. I mean, all of our right-hand shot defensemen are like 32. So it's hard to – it's definitely an acquired taste at first when you hear Bolduc. It's like, oh, but then you think about it for a little bit and it's like, all right, this guy could put up 40 points, 45 points next year. If assuming he's going to play. Armstrong's comments today where he has a job and right now. So, we'll see what happens. Armstrong's never really active on July 1st. But yeah, I'm expecting good things from this player.
Yeah, Logan Mailloux. I mean, I kind of want to talk about some statistics with him and kind of break that down really fast. In the 2023-2024 season, he earned AHL All-Rookie, and he did have a good, strong beginning to this season, actually, in the AHL of 4 points in 2 games, which did prompt his recall to Montreal. But here's my takeaway. When Armstrong says, I could see him playing in the NHL next season, in my opinion, I would rather him play with the Thunderbirds rather than rush him to the NHL because we saw, and listen, I love Dvorsky. And I know we're comparing 2 different players here, but he wasn't ready last year, right? They brought him up for a little bit, and that's okay. I have all the faith in him, but Snuggie was ready. So
I'm not as much as I watch the sport and have opinions and have for a long time. That is a very tough thing to understand. When is a player ready to play in the NHL?
Yep.
Because I think most people kind of look at it as, okay, well, if they can do it, you need to get him out there and find out once and for all. And if they can't, then you send him back down for a little bit, let him continue the season. But we're getting a motivated player who's been messed around a little bit. He's obviously had his hardships,
and we're going to talk about that.
Yeah. And I just think he's super motivated. He's coming off of 2 good AHL years, coming from a kind of a brutal organization. You play a couple of tough games. They're pretty much Toronto. You play a couple of tough games and they kind of bury you a little bit. And I don't know, just like the thought of Jim Montgomery getting his hands on this guy and him kind of fitting the mold of what the Blues have in terms of age and kind of resetting the what's going on with the defense. I don't know. I love to see him come in, play top 4 minutes right away, like not be too horrible defensively. That's what I keep saying. I keep seeing is that he struggles with defense, but he is physical and can score and obviously a good skater. We'll see. It could just be Armstrong giving him some confidence, but it sounds like they want to give him a shot right off the jump here. So that would be the Blues need help now on defense. I mean, it's obvious they have for close to 2.5 seasons. So, let's hope he can come in and play motivated and really have a role in the top 4.
All right, we're going to dive into some of the controversy. I'm just going to read some of my bullet points that I wrote down, and I just want to squash this in today's episode and not have to bring it up again. I think that for me, it would be ignorant on my end if I didn't address some of the off-ice comments because Doug Armstrong did insinuate that there was some stuff in his past, and he didn't talk about it. But he said, do your research and find out. I knew what it was. But I want everybody just to know what happened. There's 2 different situations. We're going to talk about it. We're going to squash it because I truly do believe that second chances are given. And from hearing him talk today, he does seem somebody who did take accountability. So here's the incident. November 2020, he was playing in Sweden, and he took and shared an explicit photo of, I guess, somebody that he was dating, seeing without her consent. He shared the photo with his teammates, and the situation, the act led to criminal charges in Sweden. He was fined, and it was for an invasion of privacy. And again, that was in 2020. So like he was I'm not excusing it, but he was a teenager. And then there was some controversy at the draft, 2021, where he publicly re-announced himself for being drafted, stating that he didn't earn the right due to his actions. But despite this, the Montreal Canadiens selected him 31st overall, which was honestly an insane thing, right?
Yeah.
The Canadiens were criticized by this pick, the fans, the media, even the Canadian Prime Minister spoke about the decision.
Wow.
However, the Canadiens said that they were going to help him with personal development, education, and he issued a statement expressing remorse. And in 2023, the NHL said that he was not eligible to play in the league, but he was later reinstated with him having a meeting with Gary Bettman, who was the commissioner. That was a lot, Dill. That was a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I agree with everything you said at the beginning. People need to deserve second chances. Obviously, what he did when he was a little bit younger, not that it matters what age you are if you do something like that, it's frowned upon. All we can do as fans is hope that he gets continued guidance from the NHL and from the management here in St. Louis, which Armstrong did say today that would happen.
Yep.
And just being a fan of people and wanting to see people be happy, I hope he can move on from that and put it behind him. Come get involved in the community in St. Louis. It's a great place to give back. I'm not saying money fixes what donate a little bit to some charities or something. Just give back, show that you're committed to, righting the wrongs. And at the end of the day, you hit the nail on the head. He was reinstated. It's insane, totally insane that he was actually drafted in 2020.
That was a crazy moment at that draft. I remember watching it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!"
I remember hearing about that. I was a little out of the draft back then. The Blues were, kind of going through it at that time, so I was a little out of touch. But going back on it today and hearing that, and it wasn't the current regime at Montreal, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, for him to renounce himself, and obviously the kid felt bad, and you just hope for a happy ending. Come on in and do your thing and get in the gym and work hard, and good things will happen for all parties.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I took away from it was his remorse. I mean, for him, he was not expecting to get drafted by the Canadiens. And for that to happen, I don't want to say it made him look bad, or worse, I should say, but it definitely didn't help. I feel like him saying, "Hey, I don't want to, come up this year. I don't deserve it." That was him giving himself a punishment in a sense, like, "Hey, my actions were not okay." And the Canadiens draft him. But hearing Doug speak today, it seemed like, and I have to check my notes from back then, that the Blues had interest in him. He seemed like a guy that the Blues wanted from how Doug was speaking. So it sucks that Bolduc had to be dealt, but it just shows the talent, though, that Zach Bolduc has, where you don't have to give away any draft picks, nothing. All you have to give away is Zach Bolduc. Doug said the one positive thing for Bolduc is that he's able to head home. I have to tell you, though, we watch a lot of Blues hockey, you and I, and we talk about this all the time, are some of our favorite players. And Bolduc was a fan favorite, and he worked hard. He worked so hard. And he was one of those guys, honestly, who I didn't have this on my mind today. And I saw the news, and I was shocked.
A lot of the really sharp guys that I follow that are really, really tuned in the NHL, this guy by the name of Kyle Foxton, may or may not have heard of him, but I've been following him for like going on 12
Yeah,
years
I know
on
who
Twitter. Yeah, he's always pretty right on with what he says, and a lot of people seem to believe that it was always Bolduc if Kyrie wasn't going to get traded, and it's as hard as that is to really fathom right now because it kind of did blindside me, to be honest with you. When I saw Zach Bolduc, I was like, okay, this guy's going to have 15 goals, played 82 games last year, and then I see that he played 7 games, and I'm like, okay, I don't know about that, but yeah, again, going back to what I said originally, you have to give up something to get something, and you have the plethora of wingers. You have more coming in the pipeline. It's just, I don't think you got to remember one thing about the Blues. They have probably the best pro scouting group in the league.
They do.
People will not argue with you on that.
No, they do.
You don't have a full sample size on Zach Bolduc yet. Who knows? Maybe he comes out and scores 40 and 60 next year with Montreal. I think that's a little unlikely. He could be a 30-goal scorer. But
I want the best for that man, but you're right. You don't know. I do too.
I mean, he had the goal where he was flexing on the ice, the goal celebration. I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
But I think I will tell you that I trust the Blues pro scouting 100%. So
we're on the same page about that one.
Yeah. I mean, and that can be a decent segue if you're ready to talk about Bjugstad and some of the other stuff that happened today.
Yeah, well, before we get into that, I want to tell everybody about FanDuel, and then we're going to dive all into that. That was a good segue on your end. I like that. FanDuel, summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, aka our Cardinals, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little bit more thrilling with FanDuel? You can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups. The Cards had a nice sweep over the weekend, and I placed some money on that. So I won some money, which was nice because all my friends at the pool, at the lake, and I'm out here making money watching my Cardinals. So this is what you need to do. New to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today and visit FanDuel.com to get started. Okay, Dale. While things are good in St. Louis with the Cards, I'm at least happy about that. The Blues, on the other hand, have a mixed reaction based off of what happened today. So enlighten me. Tell me other moves that happened today that you liked or disliked, and then we can discuss that.
Okay, so one thing I want to say, and I think this will excite you a little bit. So take the team that played in the first round this year against Winnipeg, and granted, we know Hellebuck was a Pez dispenser in that series, and Winnipeg was better than us. Let's face that. But
they were.
And the Blues still do have holes as of right now. But if you take out Zach Bolduc and you insert Dylan Holloway into that series, I think they're, especially with the chemistry that him and Jordan Kyrou had, and we know that our guy Rue, I like to call him, is locked in for the season now.
You can't get rid of him now. He's here. It went into full effect. I believe last night at midnight.
Yeah, and another thing I'm excited about is they didn't sign Mikael Granlund. There was a lot of mixed reaction on him. I know he had some flash last year, but 3 times $7 million, whenever you think about him being 32 and you think about some of the players the Blues have up, I'm excited about Dvorsky. I'm telling you right now, this guy is a legit player. You have to give him a chance, whether it's at wing or at center.
I'm excited.
I mean, who says we can't have a second line of Kyrou, Dvorsky, and Holloway?
Could you imagine?
I mean, that's not out of the stratosphere of possibilities.
That would be a great line.
Schenn does not have to be the second line player just because Dvorsky hasn't proven himself yet. I mean, the guy needs to get a chance to do it, and he hasn't really had that opportunity.
The third or fourth line.
Yeah, and I'm not interested in seeing Dvorsky play on the fourth line. And keep in mind, those are the only minutes he's played so far.
Yeah, we're on the fourth line.
And there's still Blues fans out here judging him, telling oh, this guy's a bust. It's are you joking? This guy played with Walker and Toropchenko, and then he goes back down to Springfield and just continues to light things up. And keep in mind, we also have Jiraz Pekarek, who is his country mate, and he's coming up. He should be going pro this year and coming to Springfield. And I'm just super excited about the forwards. Like, I think they could have not just a top 6, but more of a top 8. Like, in
Just
terms
all
of
these
skill.
prospects, like Stencil and like, you know,
Thomas
I have to.
Stenberg.
I'm a little dramatic. I'm a little biased, but even my man Adam Juracek, I'm excited about him. Like, there's just
why are you biased about him?
Because at the draft last year, I had a one-on-one with him because like I was like because it was in Vegas, so I was like one of the only like media members that did stuff with the Blues.
I remember you telling me this. Yeah.
And it was his birthday, and like we just had such a nice chat, even besides like the interview, and like you just root for certain players, and he was so excited to wear that blue note, Dylan, and that gets me excited when a player like
Love
Justin, when he was emotional, he told me he was brought to tears when he got drafted by the Blues this past weekend, Justin Barbereau, because
I'm so excited for that player.
So excited about where he
And you know what? That player, that draft pick, a lot of times you don't hear about picks for a year or two, but this guy seems like he's ready to like straight up.
Yeah. He'll be ready soon.
I mean, he's talking about the gym and talking about the training staff and getting on the ice. And
yeah, he wants to know where the gym is and meet the staff and get on the ice.
I mean, I don't know how he got to 19. This dude I was watching some of his videos and I'm just like, whoa.
You know why he got to 19? Because all these teams wanted centers and defensemen. And the Blues were smart. I mean, at the moment, I was a little bit confused. I'm like, oh, we don't need a winger. But now it makes sense because when all of like the centers and defensemen got drafted, you left a guy, in my opinion, I thought he was going to go top 10 or at least top 5.
What an insane development. When you first read it, you're like, a winger? But then it's like you see the guy play, you hear him talk, you see his body. It's like, holy cow. This guy could be ready like next, like maybe not this year, but
next year,
2027.
Yeah.
Like whoa, this dude could play, and his tape is just
wicked.
Yeah.
He's good, like beyond good. And this is why I'm so excited about the future because they have so many great guys now in the system. But a guy that the Blues don't have anymore, and I'm kind of laughing a little bit because this is so ridiculous. Faksa goes back to Dallas. Insane amount of money, a couple milli AAV. That's first off overpay. Secondly, he was mid, and I don't like using that word. He did what he needed to do. Was he a standout guy? No. Was he bad? No. But was he worth like I think it was like 2.2 million? No.
Yeah. It's a good point. You know, I don't know if you know this, but Nick Bjugstad is like 6'6", so he's a big body coming.
Oh yeah, no, he's huge. We didn't even talk about him.
No, and that's it. I mean, that's effectively Fox's replacement as of now. And Armstrong said today that he got word from Fox's camp last night that he felt like that it wasn't going to work out, so they started working on a second option, which would explain why Bjugstad was signed at like I don't know, like what, an hour after free agency started today or 2 hours.
Like right after, yeah.
So obviously they probably thought that they could get him done. It didn't work out, and you pivot and you bring in a player who's 6'6". His J Fresh card, plugged to J Fresh, was really good. I think he was like a 65% percentile player, high finishing upside. The downside to Bjugstad is he's not remotely close to what Faksa was defensively. But if you shore up your defense and, you get a more collective effort from the rest of the forwards, you don't have to rely so much on your fourth line to play all those checking minutes against good teams. So,
exactly.
Faksa. And again, I mentioned Granlund earlier. I'm not losing sleep over Faksa. I wanted him back. People were upset about it, but it's like, you can find fourth line centers. I mean, and Alexandrov too is ready to come and play, and people forgot. He's another guy. Yeah, he's another that role very seriously, and I'm excited about him. And the biggest Nathan Walker fan. So it's like maybe he gets replaced.
Walker.
I love him too, but his game.
Oh yeah, no, his game isn't. I agree. I'm on the same page. Really fast about Bjugstad. I just want to give a couple stats. 32 years old right now. He's played a total of 760 games. Throughout those 760 games, 157 goals and 173 assists. Again, we talk about him being 6'6", huge guy. Last season, though, he played with
Utah.
You know what's funny about Utah? I still want to say Arizona. I'm not used to the Utah now.
I was just in Phoenix, and all I could think about is like the Coyotes the whole time. I don't know why.
So last year, 8 goals, 19 points total in 66 games. Again, he is probably right now, as we were talking, third line center. Maybe if the Blues acquire some better talent, no disrespect, maybe fourth line center. Right now, I could see him being fourth line center and Shen being third line center. However, I could also see Bjugstad being third line center and Shenny being fourth line center.
As long as Shen isn't second line center, I don't really care.
I'm good. No second, no first. Just keep him in the bottom 6. He's still gonna get the C.
Yep, you want me to bigger Shen fan, but I'm okay. I'm okay with him.
I love Shenny, but keep him down. But another thing that I'm a little upset about, and I talked about this yesterday. I had Michael Meyer on, not the Halloween character, Blues prospect guy.
That guy is the best.
He's awesome.
That dude is the best. I have his notifications on Twitter.
That's why I said one too.
That dude.
And he was like, "You do?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
He's legit. That dude is awesome.
Awesome. So Ryan Suter, I am so upset about this, and I think this is going to lead to him retiring. Like, no one's gonna want him.
He's taken back.
I would really too.
Like over Letty, like
league minimum.
I would send Letty to like I don't even know where, like anywhere. Seattle. Like, and I know that I love the players, and I think Letty's a good guy, even though he's a former Blackhawk. But
I was gonna say that. That doesn't help.
No, and we got rid of the other one last year with Brandon Saad, but yeah, it's Falk and Letty, and I just was like, man, Suter at one point in time was like carrying the defense almost to a degree. And
he was like, on the first pair.
Yeah, and
he worked his butt off.
It makes sense too, because you have Yurashek, you have Ralph, you have Mailloux who's coming, and it's like, okay, you don't really want to give term to somebody, but you need a reliable player, and it's like, man, I'd be very surprised if Sutter did something happen. Like, was there something announced that like with him? So, what was announced?
So what happened was Suits was saying, hey, I would love to come back and be a part of the Blues. If my wife says yes, then, I'll play another season. And then Doug said, it was like a couple pressers ago, essentially, yeah, we're not going to re-sign him.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
And here's my issue. And this is my quick little vent really fast. Fox's line. One of the best lines, honestly, in the back half of the season in the playoffs. I'm not going to deny that, okay? Not saying that. Listen, that's a fact. Suter carried the defense, especially that first half. Like, he really stepped up big when Letty was out. My question is, you add in these new guys, one of them who is not going to be ready until next season on defense. You still have Nick Letty and Justin Folk. Sorry, call me a hater. They're not going to help.
Call me one too. I mean, if I have to watch Justin Falk give away one more puck whenever we're on a 6-on-5 in the last minute of a game, I seriously might, I don't know, like spontaneously combust or something. And he, I better just stop.
It's bad. Like, and I was convinced that Suter would play one last season here in St. Louis, repping the Blue Note, and then he would call it quits and retire. He would help the younger guys. I am so disappointed, honestly, with that decision.
Yeah, I almost guarantee. I mean, Cody Ceci, didn't he just get like a 4-year deal today? I mean, you can't tell me that guy is that much better than Ryan Suter played last year. Like I don't care that Suter is old.
He can still play. He plays
He
better than Polk and Letty.
and he's old school and he's tough on the ice and he
So
doesn't take
tough.
any shit. And I don't know. He's always just like laughing and having fun. He's great for the room.
Right in the locker room. When I saw him in Philly, I was in the locker room and he said to me jokingly, he's like, "Hey, where's the best cheesesteaks at?" Like, that was because he heard my accent. I guess I said something where it sounded a little bit, not.
That's what I would ask you if I saw you in
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
And like, I'm like, I wasn't even interviewing him. I think I was interviewing Cairo, and he like said that, and I was like, "This is a funny." Like, you can kind of tell players' personalities. But if no one picks him up, I say league minimum. You can't go wrong by having somebody that stepped up for your organization big time. And if I ask you this right now, though, and this is a question I saw circulating on Twitter, and I don't know who posted it, so I would give credit, but I don't know who did it. So if it was your question, whoever's watching or whatever, then my apologies. Do you think the St. Louis Blues, as of right now today, and let's go say theoretically, Holloway is healthy and he's able to play, are they better than they were a year ago?
Yes.
I am on the same page. So
most people will tell you no right now, but just
they are.
Let it resonate for a few days. Get this kid on the ice, get him into camp, get him into practice. And again, trust Doug Armstrong. I think I told you this in the end of season, Haley. I think I told you that I expect one more trick for Doug Armstrong before he calls it.
Coming. I think another offer sheet's going to happen.
Yeah, they were talking offer sheet for Bowen Byram. You're thinking of a hockey trade involving either Falk or Letty. There's a lot on the table. There is, and again, he's not really a July 1st kind of guy. He never has been.
We saw that with Broberg and Holloway.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't find that out until what? Like, I don't even remember when that was finalized.
It was like very, very late July or early August. It was late.
And can we just take a second to just talk about that one more time before it's formally put to bed? Also, RIP Edmonton Oilers, 2x Stanley Cup champions. So sorry about their fans that totally just bashed Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg for leaving the Oilers because they got more money and more opportunity. Like, I saw one. Oh, I better not keep going. But I was so sad to see. I was so sad to see the Oilers lose twice in a row. Like, that was just. That hurt.
You know what I thought about? I was like, wow. And I'm talking about this past Stanley Cup. If only they had a young guy within maybe, let's just say a Dylan Holloway, a young guy on defense like a Philip Broberg.
Yeah, I mean, they just traded Arvidsson. They just traded Arvidsson today to Boston. It's like, imagine if that team last year, instead of Wallman and Arvidsson and Skinner, had Holloway and Broberg.
It makes you think. And then you know what gets me though? When Oilers fans commented on my video after we lost to the Jets, and they said, "Wow, look at Holloway not showing up." I'm like, bro, he was out. He didn't even play. He was injured.
I remember one guy tweeted that night, like, Dylan Holloway eliminated from the playoffs, and I wanted to, like, I was like, dude, like,
did you even watch it?
Like, also, by the way, your Stanley Cups have dust on them, just so you know. But that's
ours. Okay. You know what? Oh, you know what I did order though? I ordered the new Note hat.
Oh my god, I could spend $1,000 on that.
And then I'll tell you something crazy that I did, because the sweaters are not released yet. This is actually insane. I went on like one of those like custom like jersey websites. I swear to God. And I like did my best to kind of like do a replica of like the new sweater. It may not look the best, but I did a Robert Thomas one. So I put like, Thomas 18. I put like the new Note. I took a screenshot of it. I hope it comes out okay. I was so excited. I'm obsessed. The Heritage Note was my favorite out of any. So
which one do you like? Do you like the white one or that is literally a top 3 jersey in the NHL right now.
We need to do a
Like,
jersey ranking before the season begins.
I am so down.
That would be a
That is
fun
my
one.
favorite. That is, I've been obsessed with like uniforms for Vegas has a sick jersey.
They
I
do.
will
And
say
I
that.
have a Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't like Vegas, but I have one of his. I've never
hate
worn
them.
it. It's a collectible.
I have a Patrick Laine jersey in my
You know the
closet.
hockey guy on YouTube that has like a bunch.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I got into this phase where I was like, oh my goodness, I want to be like that. And then after buying the one from Vegas, I was like, yeah, I can't afford to be like him. So it just sits in the back of my closet. But I'm like, yeah, I have a Marc-Andre Fleury sweater because one of the greats. But Vegas, oh, by the way, with Vegas, with them adding Mitch Marner and the talent that they already have, if they win a freaking Stanley Cup again, I am going to explode. I hate the Golden Knights. They're the most scumbaggy organization. One because
Oh yeah.
LTIRs, scumbags.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it would be easy to hand out 8-year deals to guys if you know you're just going to throw them on LTIR after their 5th season.
Wait,
I mean,
you know what's funny about that though? Like, honestly, it's so hilarious to me that with us right now in the Blues and our situation, like we have to worry about cap space. The Knights, like they probably are like, oh, LTIR.
I know when you get off this pod, if you haven't seen it yet, look at the video they posted of Mitch Marner like showing up to Vegas today and putting on his jersey. Mitch Marner is like in there just like dancing around with his baby wearing a jersey, and all I can think of is like, oh, Mitch Marner just got paid $12 million to give you like 2 points in a playoff series against Edmonton next year in the second round. Like, and I think Marner is a good regular season player. He was
But
good
not
in
in the
Four
playoffs.
Nations. Yeah, like I don't know. Don't shoot the messenger. Like someone said, Marner would be the Blues' best forward, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll take Thomas all day. Holloway's getting up there.
Robert Thomas
And
is better than Mitch Marner.
I agree. I 100% agree. Robert Thomas is the most underrated player in the NHL. One of them.
This is why we
I
get
mean,
along.
like 100 points this year if he plays the whole season. I mean, first of all, he gets hurt. They tell us 6 weeks. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
When
and he
got
came back
hurt
like
this last year. Comes back in 4 weeks. I guess his bones are just made of titanium, and then like still has like 80 points in the season. And I'm just dreaming of him playing all season with like Snuggerud.
Team Canada for the Olympics.
He has to be. Has to be. He's earned it. He has. His defense coming around, like talking about watching tape of Patrice Bergeron last offseason. I mean, and Montgomery is here. I mean, Thomas is going to be a dog this year. He's just getting better every season. We have him for what, 8 million, 8.2 or something like that.
Yeah, it's the same as Kyrou. So yeah, I want to say it's.
So yeah, you go ahead and give Mitch Marner 12 million. I'll take Robert Thomas for 8.2 all day, every day. Think about it. We have Thomas and Kyrou for 16 million, and they're paying Marner 12 million. So
we have a steal. And okay, one last thing before we wrap this up. I have to tell you, there were so many tweets about Jordan Kyrou, about how he's going to get traded. Ooh. Do fans not realize, and I'm not trying to make anybody sound stupid, but do people not realize that he has a no trade clause that went into effect today? Like, they're not trading him. Like,
yeah, guys don't just like waive those things either.
No.
I don't think people really want to get traded. And Kyrou has been through a lot with the Blues. And people question his like compete, and people will tell you that he wasn't competing in that Winnipeg series. Miss me with that, because if he had Holloway in that series, I'm sorry, but he was playing with completely different players. Kyrou and Holloway were so good last year together. I don't care that he got hit by Logan Stanley. By the way, who's ever heard of Logan Stanley? I haven't. Like I don't care that he got hit and was like, I don't know, didn't score a lot of points in that series. The Blues weren't going to win the cup this year anyway. Like I will ride with Kyrou. I don't care. That guy's had like 35-point goals in the last like 4 years. I mean, and people just can't wait to trade him.
In 3 seasons. But yeah, let's trade Kyrou. He's not good. Okay.
I want to ask those people what they think Brett Hull was like, because all he did was hang out at the blue line and score, just like what Kyrou. Like Kyrou is more defensive. Like he's at least trying to work on his defense.
And
he's had a better – yeah, it's improving. Like, last year was really good, like 25-30% better than what I've seen. And
last year was his best season.
100%. And he came around on the defense, and he cares about his game, and he cares about the note. And
he cares about the fans.
I don't understand the fan base sometimes. It's just like –
I spoke to Kyrie last year, and he remembered me from the previous year. And, like, he took, like – okay, so with the other team that I cover – again, not a fan of the other team. It's just a job. I always have to tell people that, like...
Wait, you're not a Flyers fan at all?
No.
Okay.
I'm a Blues fan. And it's funny, everybody in Flyers media, they all know that I'm a Blues fan because during the Flyers games, I have up the Blues games and I'm cheering on the Blues. Like, that's what's even more funny. Like, if I wasn't a Blues fan, would I be walking around in Philadelphia with my Blue note on?
Yeah, how's that go? Do you get, like, stuff thrown at you?
No, a lot of people actually come up to me and they say, like, oh, you're a Blues fan. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, I went to, a Blues game. Or this girl the other day was like, oh, I went to college near St. Louis. So, like, a lot of cool interactions. But it's, like, funny, like, I really do love the Blues. So for me, it's funny because it's like one of those things where people get that misconception. And I'm like, if I could live in St. Louis, I would. Like, I would. And I've said that numerous times. And I've looked even to living in St. Louis. The problem is my job that I do is here. So, and I was trying to go out to a game last year and the plane tickets were like $500.
You need to follow 101 ESPN and hit them up and see if they would ever let you on board.
But I do. That's where I listen to the games when I'm driving. So it's funny because, like, I feel like my whole entire life here is centered around the Blues. So anyways, with the Flyers, when I talk to those guys, sometimes, like, you can tell that they're disengaged because it's such a big media market in Philadelphia that, they're always getting asked questions.
Got the Eagles going on and all that stuff.
So with the it's kind of like Flyers will look like a small market compared to the Maple Leafs. So with the Blues, because we're not the biggest market, even though we have fans all over the world, which I love, whenever I speak to the players and they know that for me, like, this is the one time of the year where I can actually see them in person and talk to them, Kyrie takes like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, he genuinely is a nice human being. And every conversation that we've had, he always brings up his love for the fan base in the city. Like, I've talked to a lot of hockey players throughout my life. He is the only one that brings it up on his own.
Yeah, no, that you have. You hell, you even talked to John Tortorella, who I don't know about how that is like.
He shut me down a lot. He talks to me about dogs and, like, rescues. But, like, when I would talk to him about, like, the actual game itself, I would be like, oh, defense tonight looks slow. PK is still a problem. How we're going to address this? Is Rocky Thompson coming up with a new plan on, the power play? Like, I would just ask him a bunch of questions, every single question. No, I'm not answering that. You guys are making up false narratives.
Yeah, that guy's a trip. But yeah, just going back to your original, Kyrie is just 40 goals this year, 100 points for Thomas. Get Kyrie a center, whether that's Dvorsky or, I'd never mentioned Pius Sutter. He may have signed while we're doing this pod.
I'm looking now, actually, to see if that happened.
The reason I like him is because he's a really good penalty killer. And the Blues penalty kill was not good last year.
Unbelievable. Now,
Did he sign?
No. Chris Johnston, who does stuff for The Athletic, he's posting the pictures of Mitch Marner with his VGK sweater. And I'm like, is this like a Mitch Marner fan club over here? Like, no other player is getting this kind of love on social media from the national people.
Yeah. I mean, he's always been kind of a popular guy. I remember when he was a prospect. Right
now he is still available.
Sutter's still available?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, maybe if we lose one Sutter, maybe you'll be happy if we get another one. I don't know if they're pronounced.
Nothing's going to compare to Ryan.
No, nothing will compare to him.
This is going to drive him into retirement. I think that's why I'm so annoyed about it. Because imagine, like, you're like, oh, I'll play one more year. My wife said it was okay. Like, we love St. Louis. We're making the sacrifice. All we want to do is live here. And then boom. Yeah, we don't want to resign this guy. Like,
I know there has to be something more because it doesn't make sense with what the roster looks like right now that they
No.
wouldn't let him play.
I
honestly.
suspect within the next month, and we're going to leave this episode on a hot take as we're approaching 45. This is we actually spoke a lot today. Within the next month, I expect both Nick Leddy and Justin Folk to be gone and traded.
If that happens, I don't know. I'm gonna have to Venmo you some money or something.
No, please don't. We can just take a deep breath, nail that. We know that a last-minute goal won't go in the net.
And I won't ever have to watch I won't ever have to watch the opposition score in front of the net while Nick Leddy is standing there with his arms at his side, not doing anything.
You could have done more than Nick Leddy did.
I know my dog could have boxed out more than that guy. I mean, sorry, man.
Well, hey, listen, as of today, July 1st, the Blues are a better team. Obviously, we're going to miss Zach Bolduc a lot. But Dylan, we're going to have to talk later this summer as we always have such great conversations. Again, thank you so much for joining Locked on Blues. And to all of you watching, again, right now, it is about 7:50 Central. So these are all the moves that happened today. If anything else happens, do not come for me. We're only talking about what we were able to process throughout the day. But again, if any breaking news, it's going to be on Twitter at Locked on Blues. I will talk to you tomorrow. And like always, let's go Blues.